Number 1 is Noble Flora, owned by Elizabeth Noe and Charles Kelly, both of the Buckeye State, trained and driven by Jeff Collins. Number 2 is Sugar Valley Angel, owned by Robert Pence of Middlefield, Ohio, trained by Dale Edwards, the K-Man, Kane Kaufman. Number 3 is Tight Eyes, owned by Jerome Grogan of Cincinnati, Ohio, trained by Calvin Wright, Jeff Fout, the pilot. Number 4 is Losers Bracket, owned and trained by Ronald Barker of Chillicothe, Ohio, Bob Harper. The 5 is Lake Hills Lisa, owned and trained by John Nelson, parent 11 Ohio. Brett Miller, Scioto Downs leading driver, is up. The 6 is Go By Air, owned by Michaela Pollock of Asheville, Ohio, trained by Jim Pollock Jr. with Dave Ehrenberg II. Number 7 is Heidi's Ribs, owned by Robert Davis, 11 Ohio, who also trains Dallas Miller, the reinsman. Number 8 is Cam Love, owned and trained by Glenn Collins of Hamilton, Ohio, Kyle Later. For the outside of the 9, Crosswind Sally Jane, owned by Kayla Nestor of Orient, Ohio, trained and driven by Terry Groves. And for the second tier, number 10, Marion's Girl, owned by Dan Russo of Westerville, Ohio, trained by Mike Kepler, Jim Daly, and her sulky. Being sent on their way. They're all fan pacing and firing away. Middle of the track, there goes the 5. Lake Hills Lisa getting the first call here. Also driving out for command was Tight Eyes to come away in 2. Along the inside, Losers Bracket has come away in 3rd. From the inside, racing in 4, that is Noble Flora. Now driving over the outside there to be 4th, that is Crosswind Sally Jane, followed in 5th by Noble Flora. 6th along the pylons, that is Sugar Valley Angel. 7th from the second tier, Marion's Girl. 8th there on the inside, Go By Air. 9th at angle to the pylons, Heidi's Ribs, and 10th and trailing Cam Love. The opening quarter came and went in 28 3/5. On by the stands for the first time and heading on down to the half, and out there on the point, that's Lake Hills Lisa and Brett Miller out there leading it by length and up quarter. Into the inside, Tight Eyes is still right there going along in 2, stalking that garden spot. Along the inside, Losers Bracket watches over the top 2 from 3rd. Sent first over the outside, racing in 4th. Here comes Sugar Valley Angel, and the K-Man has sent this one on the go. Along the inside in 4th, Crosswind Sally Jane, outer flow there. 2nd over on the outside in 5th, Marion's Girl, penned in on the inside, racing in 6th there, Noble Flora. They're off the half in 59 1/5. Off the turn and driving down the backside. Heads are pointed towards 3/4 and on top. Lake Hills Lisa continues to carve out the fractions here. Leading it by a tight length and a quarter. Into the inside, Tight Eyes is right there, nose to helmet in 2. Losers Bracket is still following the top 2 from 3rd. Outside there in 4th, that is Sugar Valley Angel, pendant at the pylons in 5. Crosswind Sally Jane, 3/4 and 1/28 1/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home, and on top, Lake Hills Lisa with the lead here under a tippy tap of the whip. Tight Eyes is being angled off the pylons by Fout here, is going to take dead aim at the leader as they turn to the top of the stretch. Less than 1/8 of a mile to go, and down the stretch they come, and Lake Hills Lisa with the lead here is digging down deep. And to the outside, Tight Eyes is getting no closer as they roll within the final 16th. Lake Hills Lisa, gate to wire. Going to be very tight there for second between the 3 Tight Eyes and the 4 Losers Bracket. The time of the mile, 1:58 2/5. Lake Hills Lisa. Race first half of the early double, timed at 1:58 2/5. For the second win in 2004, here's the 5, Lake Hills Lisa. A 10-year-old Baymaster. 10-year-old Baymare by Sportsmaster, out of a General Star mare, Splendiferous, owned and trained by John Nelson, parent 11 Ohio. Nicely handled here this evening by Scioto Downs leading driver, Brett Miller. Also the leading dash winning driver in all of North America, Brett Miller. Guides the 5, Lake Hills Lisa, home to a 1:58 2/5 victory. Roy Murphy and Richard Stevens of Ohio, trained by Roy Murphy, Brett Miller. The 3 is Sandy Crown, owned by Albert Scroller and Robert Stewart of Ohio, trained by Tom Brinkerhoff, Dave Myers. The 4 is Garcia Parra. The lessee is Dorothy Christie of Grove City, Ohio, trained by Mr. Todd Christie with Bob Harper. The 5 is Tiglon, owned and trained by Deb Shrake of Loudonville, Ohio. Jeff Fout is up. The 6 is Levite, owned by the Shout Stable of Pompano Beach, Florida, trained and driven by Rick Shout. Number 7 is Vision and Verse, owned and trained and driven by Willard Miller of Jamestown, Ohio. The 8 is Lady Star, owned by Dwayne and Carol Sue Lowe of Malta, Ohio, trained by Dwayne Lowe with Jim Daly. The 9 is Satellite Dish, owned by Melody Young of Loreville, Ohio, trained and driven by Stephen Hettinger. And for the second tier, number 10, Rachel Nancy. The lessee is also the trainer, Connie Molnar of Ashley, Ohio. Mike Price, and her sulky.
Field in motion. They're off and trotting and firing out of there from the inside. There goes Duncan Adano driving up in the middle of the track there. Levite is on the go. From both the outside of there, Lady Star is forging on towards the frontier. Away in fourth, Sandy Crown. Next in fifth, that is Garcia Parra. Kind of the outside in sixth, that is Satellite Dish. Seventh from the rail, that is Publisher. And from the inside, second from there, racing in eighth from the second tier, that is Rachel Nancy. Ninth, that is Tiglon. And 10th, and trailing the field, Vision Inverse. As they move by the opening quarter came and went in 28 and 2/5, and as they race on by the fans for the first time and head on down to the half, that's Lady Star out there on the point, leading it by length and a quarter. Into the inside, Duncan Adano there, right there, nose to helmet, a handful for Brett Miller racing in two. Levite trots in third. Up on the outside, hung in fourth, that is Satellite Dish. Inside in fifth, that is Sandy Crown, picking up the cover flow. Second over the outside in sixth there, that is Tiglon. Seventh and buried to the pylons, Garcia Parra. Eighth to the outside, that is Vision Inverse, and the two trailers here are Publisher, who is trotting in ninth, and 10th is Rachel Nancy. They stepped off the half in 59 and 2/5. A second quarter there at 31 seconds flat. Off the turn of their long journey down the backside towards three quarters begins now, and on top, Lady Star, the Miller Lite, best bet of the night, is out there on top, leading it by length and a quarter with less than 3/8 of a mile to travel. Into the inside, Duncan Adano is still right there, nose to helmet in two. Outside, Satellite Dish is going backwards in third, sent up three wide around that cover there. Racing in three now, that is Tiglon, buried to the pylons in fourth, Levite, three quarters in 130 flat. They'll drop the final turn and head for home, and Lady Star under taps of the whip here, leading it by length and a quarter to the outside. Tiglon at 40 to 1 is now bearing down to the outside in two, and Duncan Adano is desperately looking for racing room here as they turn to the top of the stretch. Less than an eighth of a mile to go, and down the stretch they come, and Lady Star with a late tear, she's under siege. Up on the outside, here comes Levite, who's charging hard. Up on the outside here, Duncan Adano as they come to the wire. Duncan Adano, Levite to the outside. Levite gets up to win it. Very close there for a second. The time of the mile, 2 minutes and stepping trackside of the winner's circle. This is Scott Piney's Miller Lite long shot of the night. Here's the 6, Levite, a 11-year-old bay mare by Le Mans out of a Superman mare, Meggie Q. On with the Shout stable of Pompano Beach, Florida. Nicely trained and driven to victory by Rick Shout. Posting the third win in 2004. Home a winner in 2 minutes and 3/5. The 6, Levite.
Here are the parading pacers. The one is Toes Pampa Top, owned by Melinda Harp of Franklin, Ohio, trained by Robert Davis with Dallas Miller. Number 2 is Unique Maisie, owned by Robert Blue of Richwood, Ohio, trained by Robert Blue with Ken Klein. The 3 is Erna Blessing, owned by Lowell Prickett of Wilmington, Ohio, trained by Tom Prickett with a K-Man, Kane Kaufman. The 4 is BK Sparrow, owned and trained by Ken Kirk of New Holland, Ohio, with Jim Delia. The 5 is B Minor, owned in partnership by Wolf, Theroff, and Sowers. They're all of the Buckeye State, trained by Michael Sowers, Brett Miller. Number 6 is Liberated Sabra, owned and trained by Robert Fay of Smyrna, Delaware, with Bob Harper. Number 7 is Little Ms. Reagan, owned by Rosemary Young of Marysville, Ohio, trained and driven by Ernie Young. Into the outside of the 8 to JMI's Village Clyde, owned by Joseph and Timothy Ignarski of DeGraff, Ohio, trained by Tim Ignarski, Kyle Wader, and Hersalke. That's the field for the third.
Z in motion. They're all fan pacing and firing away from the inside. There goes Erna Blessing, and the K-Man has rolled this one out for command. Driving through in the middle of the track, BK Sparrow by the outside there. Little Ms. Reagan is marching towards the top as they enter the first turn and roll by the opening 8th and over to the opening quarter. Erna Blessing has seated Little Ms. Reagan to the inside of that garden spot in 2. BK Sparrow watches over the top 2 from 3rd. 4th there on the inside, B Minor. Off stride on a bad break there on the outside. Liberated Sabra is off stride there. and is being pulled up but out of the race there as they move by the opening quarter in 28 3/5. On by the stands for the first time and heading on down to the half, and on top, Earn a Blessing of the K-Man out there on the point, leading it by length and a half. Into the inside, Little Ms. Regan is stalking in two, sent first over on the rim, racing in third. Here comes B Minor third, now second, advancing above the outside of the leaders. They enter the clubhouse, turning on over to the half, they roll. Over the inside, racing in fourth there. That is BK Sparrow. Outside, second over the outside, racing in fifth. That is Unique Maisie. Outside, third over, racing in sixth. That's Toes Papa Top. Up on the inside, racing there in seventh. That is JMI's Village Clyde. They're off the half in 1 minute and 3/5. And gentlemen, you got a horse over here. He does have Bob Harper and the outrider with him, but take caution as you race around the final turn. Off the half in 1 minute and 3/5. And on top, Earn a Blessing. Out there on the point, still leading it by a half. And to the outside, B Minor is bearing down on the outside in two. Along the inside, Little Ms. Regan racing in third. Sent up 3 wide and advancing towards the leaders. Toes Papa Top, 3/4 and 1:30 and 2/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home, and Earn a Blessing still there with the lead. And to the outside, B Minor is still there, still coming on. Inside in third, Little Ms. Regan. Outside in fourth, that's Unique Maisie to the top of the stretch. Less than an eighth of a mile to go. And down the stretch they come, and Earn a Blessing with the lead. Tierney's responded well, opening up by 2, now 3 within the final 16th. Earn a Blessing is going away here. Going to be very tight for second. The 4, BK Sparrow is going to get up just in time, finishing third of the 7, Little Ms. Regan. The time of the mile, 1:59 and 4/5. Earn a Blessing in a new lifetime mark. Time to a new lifetime mark, a 1:59 and 4. The 3, Earn a Blessing, is a 3-year-old Bay filly by Firm Belief out of a General Skipper mare. Earn a Penny, owned by Lowell Brickett of Wilmington, Ohio, trained by Tom Brickett. Nicely handled here this evening by the winning driver, the K-Man, Kane Kaufman. The 3, Earn a Blessing, new lifetime mark, 1:59 4/5. Now your official winner, the 3, Earn a Blessing, returning 6:20, 3:20, 4:20. Second, the 4, BK Sparrow, 7:49.60. Third of the 7, Little Ms. Regan, returning 6:80. On the 3-4 exacta, $91.20. 3-4-7 try, 573.80.
By Martin Fisher of Millersburg, Ohio, trained by James Duckworth with Pat Duckworth up. Well, the 2 is BL Lady Levesque, owned by the Abbey Stables Limited of Sugar Creek, Ohio, trained by Danny Collins, Sandy Beatty. The 3, Super Mojo, was scratched by the judges. The 4, DC's Main Squeeze, owned in partnership by Sydney and Jeremy Watkins of Dalhart, Texas, trained by David Joder, Jeff Fout, the reinsman. Number 5 is Ms. Taylor, owned by Dean and Diane Miller of Archbold, Ohio, trained by Barbara Lewis with Brett Miller. The 6 is Prince Darvo, owned and trained by Darrell Lambert of Canal, Winchester, Ohio. Dallas Miller's up. The 7 is Little Buddy, owned, trained, and driven by Bernie Bulland of Grove City, Ohio. The 8 is Final Chaser, owned by Leonard Buckner of Mount Eaton, Ohio, trained by Tom Brinkerhoff, Dave Myers. For the outside of the 9, G7 Bingo, owned by William Lane of Frankfort, Ohio, trained by Ken Lane. Jim Daly is up. And for the second tier, number 10, Teresa Lou, owned, trained, and driven by Ken Grogan in Lewisburg, Ohio, Ian Hersulke. That's the field for the 4th race, kicking off the early pick 3 exacta trifecta wager.
The In Motion. Being sent on their way. They're all fan trotting in, firing for the lead. Middle of the track, Ms. Taylor gets the first call. G7 Bingo over the outside was up on the bit, so Jim Daly has rolled her out as well. Coming away, trotting in 2 there. Inside in third, that is BL Lady Levesque. Up on the inside, racing in fourth. DC's Main Squeeze just ahead of there in fifth. Little Buddy trotting at the rail in sixth. That is Teresa Lou. Outside of there, racing in seventh. That is Final Chaser. Eighth along the inside, that's Prince Darvo in ninth, and trailing the field here, that's the 1, Good and Lucky. The opening quarter came and went, and a spirited 28 and 2/5 as they drive on by the stands for the first time and head on down to the half. Out there on the front, Ms. Taylor and Brett Miller out there on the point, carving out the fractions, late to get by length and not half. Into the inside, G7 Bingo trots in 2 as they cross into the wire with less than 5/8 of a mile to trot now and enter the clubhouse, turning on over to the half. On top of the hill, that's Ms. Taylor. Inside in 2, G7 Bingo trotting in third, BL Lady Levesque. Inside racing in fourth, that is there. That's DC's Main Squeeze. Fifth is Little Buddy. They're off the half in 58 3/5. A second quarter 30-1. Off the turn of their long journey down the backside towards 3/4 begins now, and on top, Ms. Taylor is out there winging it by 2.5. Now 3 lengths. Inside giving chase in second, G7 Bingo. Outside trotting in third now, DC's Main Squeeze. Trotting in fourth, BL Lady Levac. Fifth there, that's Little Buddy. Outside in sixth, Final Chaser. Seventh is Teresa Lou. A long ways back to trotting in eighth there, Prince Darvo. And ninth and trailing the field, Good and Lucky. 3/4 was trotted in 1:27 4/5. They'll trot the final turn and head for home, and Ms. Taylor has opened up a commanding length lead here as they turn to the top of the stretch. Less than an eighth of a mile to go. And down the stretch she comes, and Ms. Taylor is all over this field here. The 3-year-old daughter of Mr. Vic is absolutely on cruise control as they drive to the wire. Ms. Taylor well in command. Finishing second, the 4, DC's Main Squeeze. Up for third of the 8, Final Chaser. The time of the mile, 1:57 1/5. Ms. Taylor in a new lifetime mark. First victory in 2004. Out of the winner's circle, the unofficial winner of the 4th race. Kicking off their early pick 3. Timed at a new lifetime mark. A sensational 1:57 1/5. First victory in 2004. Here's the 5, Ms. Taylor. A 3-year-old bay filly by Mr. Vic. Out of a speedy crown mare, Dale's Delight. Owned by Dean and Diane Miller of Archbold, Ohio. Trained by Barbara Lewis. Nicely handled here this evening by the hitman, Brett Miller. That's 2 wins on this evening's card for Brett, giving him a driving double. The 5, Ms. Taylor, returning $4, $3.20 260. Second, the 4, DC's Main Squeeze, $6.60, $4. Third, the 8, Final Chaser, $9 even. The 5-4 Exacta is worth $27.40, while the 5-4-8 Try is worth $302.80. The 5, Ms. Taylor, in a new lifetime mark, 1:57 1/5.
The 1 is Isa Matty, owned by Lowell Prickett of Wilmington, Ohio, trained by Tom Prickett with the K-Man, Kane Kaufman. Number 2 is Blues Singer, owned in partnership by James Stambaugh of Wasion, Ohio, and Jim Artledge of Orient, Ohio, trained by Jim Artledge Jr. with Jump Fount. The 3 is Ethereal, owned by Dan Ader, Fitzgerald, and Benny Haller. They're all of the Buckeye State, trained by Dan Ader with Kyle Ader. The 4 is Gina Jameson, owned by the Darby's Edge Stable of Ohio, Joe Descala Jr. of Chapel, New York, trained by Virgil Morgan Jr. with Brett Miller up. Number 5 is Illegally Blonde, owned by Robert Puccio of Gahanna, Ohio, trained by Robert Carsey, Sandy Beatty. Number 6 is Raps Delight, owned by Paul Coates of Wilberforce, Ohio, trained and driven by Darren Mauser. The 7 is Pacific Rhapsody, owned by Donald Robinson of Cardington, Ohio, trained by Delvin Criswell with Bob Harper. With the 8 is BT Connection, owned by Joan and Roy Burns of Milford Center, Ohio, trained and driven by Roy Burns. For the outside of the 9, Alabama Co-Ed, owned by Thomas Carroll of Coshocton, Ohio, trained by Mike Metters, Jim Daly will drive. And for the second tier, number 10, Nan's Dancer, owned by Patricia Soulsby of Powell, Ohio, trained and driven by Rick Shout and Hersalke.
This field is in motion. Being placed on the go. They're all fan pacing from the inside. There goes Blues Singer getting the first call, driving up on the outside. Raps Delight into 2. From the rail, Isa Matty comes away racing in third there. From the inside, racing in fourth. Ethereal comes away racing 4. Up on the outside in fifth, that's Pacific Rhapsody. And off stride there on a break went the 2 Ethereal, or rather the 2 Blues Singer, scattering the field as they step towards that opening quarter. On top of the field and leading them to the opening quarter here. The opening quarter comes and goes in 28 2/5, and finding herself out there on the front, that's Isa Matty the K-Man. And now charging over the outside, here's Jenna Jameson, and Jenna Jameson is driving on towards the top here as they roll into the wire with less than 5/8 of a mile to travel. Outside in third, that's Ethereal. Fourth is Raps Delight. Fifth is Illegally Blonde. Sixth is BT Connection. Outside in seventh, Pacific Rhapsody. Outside racing in eighth there, that's Nan's Dancer. And the 2 trailers here as they step around the clubhouse turn in front of the paddock and on over to the half. And they're at the half in just a minute flat. Inside racing in ninth, that's Alabama Co-Ed in 10th, and trailing off stride again, that's Blues Singer. Stepping off the turn and driving down the backside. Phillies' heads are pointed towards 3/4, and Jenna Jameson out there on the front, leading it by a length and a half. To the inside, Isa Matty is racing in 2. Outside racing in third of there, that is Ethereal. Pendant at the pylons racing in fourth. Raps Delight outside racing in fifth. That is Pacific Rhapsody as they race by 3/4 and 1:29 and 2. Backside 29 and 2/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home. And Jenna Jameson out there on the front opens up by 3. Sent up 3 wide there, racing in 2. That is Pacific Rhapsody to the top of the stretch. Less than an eighth of a mile to pace, and they're on their way home. Driving through Power Alley, and this is all Jenna Jameson in her career debut. Jenna Jameson going away here by 6.5, 7 lengths. Jenna Jameson in front. Finishing second to 3, Ethereal. Third of the 5, Illegally Blonde. The time of the mile, 1:58 and 2/5. Jenna Jameson, her career debut, home winner. A final half in 58 and 2. Here's the 4, Jenna Jameson. A two-year-old brown filly by Village Connection out of a Kentucky sperm mare. She by Better Than Sex, owned by the Derby's Edge stable of Ohio and Joe Descala Jr. at Chappewa, New York. Trained by Virgil Morgan Jr. Nicely handled here this evening by winning driver Brett Miller. That's 3 wins on this evening's card for driver Brett Miller, giving him a driving triple as he steers the 4, Jenna Jameson, home in a first career victory, 1:58 2/5.
Here are the parading pacers. The one is Magic's Blackjack, owned, trained, and driven by Robert Chafin of New Albany, Ohio. Number 2 is Mega Sam, owned in partnership by Marty McLean and Doug Parker of Canal, Winchester, Ohio, trained by Doug Parker, the K-Man, Kane Kaufman. Number 3 is Some More Money, owned by Randy and Walter Hawkins of Old Washington, Ohio, trained by Randy Hawkins with Adam Rucker. The 4 is Brave Mox, owned by Charles Kelly of Columbus, Ohio, trained and driven by Jeff Collins. The 5, Harmonicon, owned and trained by Connie Molnar of Ashley, Ohio. Brett Miller is up. Number 6, Alex Email, owned by Post Printing Company of Minster, Ohio, trained by Bill Emerson with Dave Myers. Number 7 is Nuclear Falcon, owned by James Sparks and Kip Yates of Ohio, trained by Dan Colcrite, Bob Harper. Scratch the 8, TG Can Do Sick. The 9, Tyler Scooter, owned by Thomas Carroll of Coshocton, Ohio, trained by Mike Metters, Jeff Out, and the Sulky. That's the field for the 6th.
The outside of the 7, Nuclear Falcon is crossing over the pylons to take the lead here. Brave Mox over the inside has now come away in 2. Outside driving on from 3rd, that is Tyler Scooter Park, 3 deep into the first turn. Middle of the track racing in 4, that is Harmonicon. At the pylons racing in 5th, Magic's Blackjack. 6th on the inside, Mega Sam. 7th there, that is Alex Email. And 8th and trailing the field, that's Some More Money. As they race over to the opening quarter came and went in 28 and 1/5. Marching on by the stands for the first time and heading on down to the half and driving over the outside. Harmonicon is forging onto the frontier. Nuclear Falcon will yield for that garden spot. Racing in 2. Brave Mox shuffled in 3rd. Racing in 4th, that is Magic's Blackjack. 5th on the inside, Tyler Scooter. As they step around the clubhouse turn in front of the paddock and on over to the half. On the inside, Mega Sam is racing in 6th. Tipping to the outside, racing in 7th, Alex Email. And 8th and showing the field Some More Money. They step off the half, 57 and 2/5. A lively second quarter there. Off the turn and driving down the backside. Heads are pointed towards 3/4, and Harmonicon leads the way here to the inside. Nuclear Falcon is stalking into with less than 3/8 of a mile to travel. Brave Mox is unused, racing in 3rd, a separation of 5.5, 6 lengths. Racing in 4th now, Tyler Scooter. Off stride in 5th there went the 1, Magic's Blackjack. Inside the pylons in 6th, Mega Sam. 3/4 and 1:26 and 3/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home, and Harmonicon with the lead here. Into the inside, Nuclear Falcon is still there, racing in 2. Brave Mox in 3rd as they turn to the top of Power Alley. Less than an eighth of a mile to go, and down the stretch they come. Harmonicon with the lead here. Into the outside, Nuclear Falcon has took dead aim and is coming at him and coming on. Harmonicon to the inside, Nuclear Falcon on the outside. Which one of these two are going to get to the wire first? Harmonicon hangs on to win it. Nuclear Falcon to go second. Brave Mox is 3rd. Time of the mile, 1:56. 3/5. Harmonicon breaking his maiden here. Side of the winner's circle. The official winner of the 6th race, breaking his maiden here in 1:56 and 3/5. The 5, Harmonicon. A 4-year-old bay horse by Meadowland Sam out of a Look Sharp mare, Win Jen, owned and trained by Connie Molnar of Ashley, Ohio. Nicely handled here this evening by the winning driver, Brett Miller. That's 4 wins on this evening's card for Brett, giving him the Grand Slam once again. The 5 Harmonicon, 156 3/5, breaking his maiden here.
Number 1 is Sharp Oma, owned and trained by John Vayman of Findlay, Ohio, with Brett Miller up. Number 2 is Always, owned by T.D. Van Camp of Circleville, Ohio, trained by Tom Blankenship with Sandy Beatty. Number 3 is Towner Sally, owned in partnership by Gilmore, Rogers, and Banshee Jr. They're of Ohio and Florida, trained and driven by Rick Heitman. The 4 is our Rotten Ruby, owned and trained by Ralph Calvert Jr. of Racine, Ohio, the K-Man, Kane Kaufman. Number 5 is Finn Tish First, owned by Richard Finfrock in New Carlisle, Ohio, trained by Stephen Rosenbaum. Bob Harper is up. The 6 is Perfect Daiquiri, owned by Sherry Myers of South Charleston, Ohio, and Diane Smith of London, Ohio, trained by Sherry Myers. Jeff Felt, the pilot. Number 7 is Hollandaise Hanover, owned by Jack Shearer in North Lawrence, Ohio, trained by Mike Metters. Cowader, the pilot. Number 8 is Mary Ann's, owned by D. Landrum Racing Stable of Maryland and McKenzie of Ohio, trained by Dennis Landrum with Jim Daly. In for the outside of the 9 is Narissa Hanover, owned and trained by Ted Roop at Dayton, Ohio, Dallas Miller, and her sulky. That's the field for the 7th.
Being sent on their way. They're all fan pacing and firing away from the inside. There goes Always, getting the first call. Driving through from the rails, Sharp Palm up on the outside of there. Perfect Daiquiri is joining the fray as they march around the first turn and over to the opening quarter. Away and forth from the inside, that is Fintish First. Angle to the pylons there, racing in 5th. That is Hollandaise Hanover, who is forwardly placed there, a gap at 2 as they race towards that opening quarter. Racing in 6, Towner Sally, 7th on the inside. That is our Rotten Ruby, 8th along the inside of Marianne's, and 9th and trailing backed off the wings of the starting 8, Narissa Hanover. Can see them all. On the opening quarter came and went at a spirited 27-4. On by the stands for the first time and heading on down to the half, and Perfect Daiquiri and fouled out there on the point, leading it by a length and a half. Well, first over the outside, Sharp Almond to tackle the leader here. Inside in 3rd, Always a watch over these doing leaders from 3rd. 4th on the inside as they step around the clubhouse turn in front of the paddock and on over to the half is Fintish First. Outside in 2nd over there trying to catch the cover. That's Hollandaise Hanover. They're halfway home, 58 4/5. A second quarter, 31 seconds flat. Off the turn and driving down the backside. Heads are pointed towards 3/4 and on top. Sharp Alma has looked the leader in the eye and has went right on by here. Sharp Alma onto the front by a length and a half. And to the outside, racing in 2 now, Hollandaise Hanover. Perfect Daiquiri could not go with them from 3rd. Outside of there in 4th, Towner Sally locked in a box. That is Always, who's trying to shake loose. They race by 3/4 and 127 3/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home, and Sharp Alma out there on the front, leading it by 2.5, 3 lengths. To the inside, Hollandaise Hanover is giving futile chase in 2nd. Towner Sally to the outside in 3rd. To the top of the stretch, less than an 1/8 of a mile to go. And down the stretch they come, and on top, Sharp Alma with a lead here. Hollandaise Hanover is trying to reel her in, but as they come to the wire, Sharp Alma is going to hang on to win it here. A Grand Slam +1 for Brett Miller. Finishing 2nd, the 7, Hollandaise Hanover, shaking loose to finish 3rd of the 2. Always the time of the mile, 157 1/5. Sharp Alma in a new lifetime mark. For a new lifetime mark, the 4th win in 2004, back in from the county fair circuit. Here's the 1, Sharp Alma. A 3-year-old bay filly by Look Sharp out of a Falcon Almahurst mare, truly Almahurst, owned and trained by Jeff Heyman of Findlay, Ohio. Nicely handled here this evening by winning driver Brett Miller. That's 5 wins on this evening's card for Brett, giving him the Grand Slam +1 on this evening's card. The 1, Sharp Alma, and Brett Miller. Home a winner to lifetime mark, 157-1, returning $520, $4.280. 2nd to 7, Hollandaise Hanover, $720, $380. 3rd of the 2, Always returning $220. 1-7 exact is worth $47.80, while the 1-7-2 try is worth $188.
West Virginia, trained by David Kurzawa with Brett Miller. The 2 is Endures Forever, owned by Pamela Yoder of Dalhart, Texas, trained by David Yoder, Bob Harper. The 3 is Wild Night on the Town, owned by Dan Ader. Fawcett and Brummel, they're of Ohio and New Jersey, trained by Dan Ader. Kyle Ader, the reinsman. The 4 is Moonlight Glitz, owned by Blend Up Church of Upper Arlington, Ohio, trained by Dan Conkrite, Dave Myers. The 5 is Chris Playboy, owned in partnership by Charles and Christine Blankenship of Asheville, Ohio, trained by Big Jim Pollock Jr., Jeff Fount. The 6 is 3 Times Please, owned by George Fee of Canal, Winchester, Ohio, trained and driven by Jim Daly. The 7 is Look Chad, owned by Rusty Lees of Waynesville, Ohio, trained by Jeff Heyman, J.D. Perrin at the lines. Well, the 8 J.C. Pride is out judges. The 9 High Got the Jack, owned by Jeanette Rapine of Marion, Ohio, trained by Dave Rapine with Dave Rapine up. Rather trained by Mike Rapine. And for the second tier, the 10 Forever Beautiful, owned and trained by Clyde Woodrow, South Charleston, Ohio, the K-Man, Kane Kaufman, Ian Hersulke.
Bing sent on their way. They're all fan pacing, and the first call goes to the 3 Wild Knight of the Town, and Cal Waiters drove this one out. And on the outside, 3 Times Please was up on the bit, so Jim Daly wheels this one out for Command Tier. Away in third, Endures Forever at the pylons from the rail in fourth. Mighty Oaks and outside caught there in fifth. Look Chad, 6th along the inside, Moonlight Glitz, skimming the pylons in 7th. From the second tier, Forever Beautiful, 8th on the inside, Chris Playboy, and 9th and trailing the field, High Got the Jack. By the opening quarter, and a quick 27 1/5. On by the stands for the first time and heading on down to the half, and out there on the front, 3 Times Please, and Jim Daly the point, trying to ration out to his speed, leading it tier by length and a quarter. To the inside, Wild Knight of the Town is stalking right there in that garden spot in 2. Endures Forever is going long in third, watching over the top pair as they enter the clubhouse turn and march in front of the paddock and on over to the half. Along the rail, Mighty Oaks and racing in fourth. Inside, racing in fifth there as they step towards the halfway mile mark of the race, Moonlight Glitz. Outside, racing in sixth, and flushing that cover second over. That's High Got the Jack. They're halfway home, 58 1/5. Off the turn and driving down the backside. Heads are pointed towards 3/4 and on top with the lead. 3 Times Please leading the way here to the outside. Mighty Oaks and is now come into second. Inside in third, that's Wild Knight of the Town. Outside racing in fourth there, High Got the Jack. Pennant at the pylons, racing in fifth. Endures Forever. 6th is Moonlight Glitz. 7th Forever Beautiful. And the 2 trailers here are Look Chad and Chris Playboy. They went 3/4 and 1:26 3/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home, and on top of the field from the outside, Mighty Oaks and shoves ahead in front, ready to be swung 3 high. Wild Knight of the Town as they turn to the top of Power Alley. Less than an eighth of a mile to go, and down the stretch they come, and 3 Times Please is battling back at the rail here. To the outside, Mighty Oaks and 3 Times Please has battled back to win it. 3 Times Please in front. Finishing second, the 1, Mighty Oaks, and it was close for third of the time of the mile, 1:56 flat, 3 Times Please in a new lifetime mark. The 6 flat, posting the third win in 2004. Here's the 6, 3 Times Please, a 4-year-old brown horse by Threefold out of a Billy Dart mare, Aim to Please, owned by George Fee at Canal, Winchester, Ohio, nicely trained and driven to victory by Jim Daly. The 6, 3 Times Please, new lifetime mark, stands at 1:56 flat, returning $8, $5.20, $3.40. Second, the 1, Mighty Oaks, and returning $3.83. Third of the 4, Moonlight Glitz, $6.60. 6-1 exact is worth $30.40, and the 6-1-4 try, $219.80.
Number 1 is Vi Raphael, owned by Richard Elwood of Lancaster, Ohio, trained by Rick Hartman with a hitman, Brett Miller. Number 2 is Royal Connection, owned in partnership by Terry Ader and Carvel Simmons, both of the Buckeye State, trained by Brett Ader, Jeff Fount. The 3 is Park Why You're Amazing, owned by Doris Armstrong of Connorsville, Indiana, trained by Joe Essig, Bob Harper. The 4 is Early Sam, home of the Our Little Stable, Washington Courthouse, Ohio, trained by Scott Mogan, Kyle Waiter. The 5 is Marvin Stewart, owned in partnership by Russell Herr and James Woodward of Groveport, Ohio, trained by Russell Herr, the K-Man, Kane Kaufman. The 6 is Sharon Blevins of Marysville, Ohio, Yakety Jack, trained by Delbert Blevins with Dave Myers. The 7 is 3 G's, owned and trained by Clarence Gilliam at Chillicothe, Ohio, with Adam Rucker. The 8 is El Zorro, owned by Stanley Swango III of Waynesville, Ohio, trained by Jim Artledge, Jim Daly. And to the outside of the 9, 3 Cent Piece, owned by David Noah, Plain City, Ohio, trained by Owen Harness, Dallas Miller, Ian the Sulky.
In motion. Being sent on their way. They're all fan pacing in a nice start here from the inside. Royal Connection is flashing early speed. Middle of the track, Park, you're amazing. Up on the outside of there, 3Gs and Adam Rucker is on the go. 3Gs to the frontier. Up on the inside, Royal Connection is coming away, racing in two. Along the inside, Park, you're amazing is third. And next in fourth on the rail, Vi Raphael. Fifth on the inside, Early Sam. Dropping in sixth, Marvin Stewart. Seventh along the pylons, Yakety Jack. Followed in eighth by El Zorro. And ninth in trailing 3 Cent Piece. Opening quarter and a quick 27 1/5. On by the stands for the first time and heading on down to the half, and 3Gs and Adam Rucker out on the point, leading it by 2, trying to ration out his speed. Inside into Royal Connection is right there in that garden spot, racing in second. On the inside, Park, you're amazing is racing in third, and Flush first up there. Flushing that cover second over the outside in fourth. Early Sam stepping around the clubhouse turn in front of the paddock and on over to the half. To the outside, third over in fifth by Raphael. They're halfway home, 56 3/5. Off the turn and driving down the backside. Heads are pointed towards 3/4 and 3Gs. Candy last on top here. And to the outside, Park, you're amazing is racing in second. Along the inside, all bottled up in third now. Royal Connection. Outside, second over in fourth, and looming the danger boldly there and swung up 3 wide. Early Sam to follow that move. That's by Raphael in fifth. Outside in sixth, Yakety Jack. 3/4 and 126 2/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home, and on top, Early Sam has cleared the frontier. 3Gs could not go with him in second. All bottled up at the rail in third. Royal Connection desperately looks for racing room as they set sail for home. Less than an eighth of a mile to go. And down the stretch they come, and Early Sam with a lead here. A move to the passing lane. Here's Royal Connection out wide. El Zorro as they come to the wire here. Early Sam got the jump on him. Royal Connection to go second. El Zorro was third at the time of the mile, 156 3/5. Early Sam in a new lifetime mark. Here's the 4, Early Sam. He's a 3-year-old son of Noble and Sam out of a Cam's Card Shark mare. By Donnerly Knight, owned by the R. Little Stable, Washington Courthouse, Ohio, trained by Scott Mogan. Nicely handled here this evening by wedding driver Kyle Wader. New lifetime mark, final half in 1 minute flat. The 4, Early Sam, 156 3/5. So official, 428 official, the 4 Early Sam, $640, $4, $440. Second of the 2, Royal Connection, $383. Third of the 8, El Zorro, $540. 4-2 exacta, 2320. 428 try, 219.40.
Here are the Parading Pacers. The one is First Time Adam, owned and trained by Harold Edward Walters in London, Ohio. Jim Daly is up. The 2 is Frequent Hanover, owned and trained and driven by Ty Van Roden in Mount Vernon, Ohio. The 3 is Appointment Log, owned in partnership by Roy Murphy and Richard Stevens of the Buckeye State, trained by Roy Murphy, the Hitman, Brett Miller. The 4 is Golio 1, owned by Russell Dalton and Larry Scares of Franklin, Ohio, trained by Russell Dalton. Drivers changed to Kyle Wader. The 5 is Western Ken, owned by Sean Mayhew of Canal, Winchester, Ohio, trained by Clarence Mayhew Jr. Sean Mayhew is up. The 6 is C. Lulu Charlie, owned by William Young of Grove City, Ohio, trained and driven by Terry Groves. The 7 is Gully Whopper, owned and trained by Thomas Ryan of Fayetteville, Ohio, with Adam Rucker. The 8 is Ty Rogers, owned and trained by John Nelson, Perrin 11 in Ohio. J.D. Perrin is up. The outside of the 9 is Cannon, owned by the Autumn Breeze Limited Liability Corporation of Marysville, Ohio, trained by Mark Cuffle, Jeff Fount. And for the second tier, number 10, Isn't He Classy, owned by Stephen Watkins of Sydney, Ohio, trained by Dan McClung, Bob Harper, Ian the Sulky.
Field in motion. Bang, sent on their way. They're all fan pacing and firing away from the pole position. There goes First Time Adam getting the first call here. Driving up on the outside, Gully Whopper was on the bit, so Adam Rucker has wheeled this one out for command from the inside. Frequent Hanover away in 2. Around the first turn they go. Up on the inside, Appointment Longer Rail is racing in 4th. From the second tier in 5th, Isn't He Classy. Angle to the pylons in 6th, Gully 01. 7th there, that is Western Ken. 8th is C. Lulu Charlie. The 2 trailers here are Ty Sky, Rogers, and Cannon can see them all. The opening quarter came and went in a moderate 29 1/5, and driving right back to the top here, first time Adam to retake from Gully Whopper. Inside in third, Frequent Hanover's off the pylons just a bit there and is now sent first over. Flushing that cover, second over the outside in fourth, Appointment Log and Brett Miller looking for win number 6. Third over on the outside in 6 there, Golio 1 as they step around the clubhouse turn in front of the paddock and on over to the half. First time Adam up top here, leading it by a length and a quarter. Gully Whopper is nose to helmet in 2. They're halfway home, 59 4. First over the outside in third, Frequent Hanover. Second over the outside in fourth, Appointment Hog. Pennant of the pylons in 5. Isn't he classy? Off the turn and driving down the backside. Heads are pointed towards 3/4, 3 wide of the outside. Here comes Appointment Log launching that bid and coming at him and coming on as they roll towards 3/4. First time Adam out of the outside. Appointment Log looked the leader in the eye and is going right on by here. Appointment Log to the top. 3/4 and 128 4/5. They'll pace the final turn and head for home. And Appointment Log. Brett Miller's all over this one, looking for win number 6 to the inside. First time Adam could not go with him. 3 wide of the outside. Golio 1 is closing ground with every stride. Gully Whopper's off the pylons to the top of the stretch. Less than an eighth of a mile to go. And down the stretch they come. And Appointment Log with the lead here. Gully Whopper is charging on the outside, but Appointment Log is well in hand. Gully Whopper to go second. Golio 1 was third. Isn't he classy? The 10 rounds out the super for fourth. 158 and 1/5. Appointment Log gives Brett Miller win number 6 on this evening's program. Okay, 9-year-old bay gelding by Log out of an Umbrella fellow mare, Sassy Scissor, owned by Roy Murphy and Richard Stevens, both of the Buckeye State, trained by Roy Murphy. Nicely handled here this evening by, who is this guy? Brett Miller, win number 6 on this evening's card. The 3 Appointment Log, 158 and 1/5. Returning 320, 220, 220. Second to 7, Gully Whopper returning 280, 240. Third of the 4, Golio 1, $3 even. The late pick 3, 3 of 3, 52.40. Late double 4, 3, 15.60. 3-7 exact, 11.40. 3-7-4 try, 42.